Hello, welcome back. Going into hour number 2. Adam, what's up?
So we fade in on a low, like a low shot, like people's like knees and boots and like kind of their thighs, lots of like sort of dresses of the various lady folk of the area, the open market area of Baya Monastery. So we're seeing it from like a low, like maybe a child's angle, and the camera is moving through this crowd, and it's clear that whatever we're seeing the point of view of keeps getting sort of bumped into by things. Kind of getting jostled, and the viewpoint is moving around quickly. It's a very sort of confused scene, and as we pull back, we see a figure kind of making their way through the market, mostly being ignored. Occasionally, someone will stop and look and be startled by whatever this thing is, and then the crowd parts enough that we see a dark figure emerge from the crowd out into maybe an alley. Kind of like gets away from the crowd, and we can still hear the bustle, the sound of hawkers shouting their wares, the sounds of pack animals lowing, and then in the shadows in this little alley next to some some trash from maybe an inn or a tea house nearby, we see catching their breath your character. JP, would you like to describe what your character looks like?
Yeah, I also got art made like 5 minutes ago. So I'll just show it
Sweet.
off because I really like what Dave Stokes does, and he fucking nailed this guy. So
Magic.
this is my character. I'm a cleric, not a paladin. I'm also a kinku, which you can note by the large. You guys can see this in Skype, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. With a large beak. He has scale mail on, but it's like an assortment of armor in the sense that none of it matches, and it's all probably stolen by people in the forest, or from people in the forest, that is. I don't necessarily have a rapier at the moment, but that's the goal. I have a
It's an
warhammer.
aspirational rape.
Yeah, I have a warhammer. You see the shield on the back, and there's probably a light crossbow below that as well. And then around my neck, you can see the necklace, which is the holy symbol, which is it is a pair of wings that is like cast iron. So it's very heavy, and it's around a brightly sheened silver necklace. And that's kind of probably swaying in the wind as you're sitting here staring at me. And I'm probably really interested in the trash that's right below me because I haven't eaten for a couple days. So I'm kind of like looking down at that, and then maybe I squat down and start pulling apart to see if there's anything edible in it.
Yeah, yeah. So we see you, hiding under this hat, kind of escape the crowd, and start pecking at the garbage. And I think that you're doing that, and then the door opens up, and a man in a stained apron, bald head, long mustache, comes out holding empty or a mostly empty soup pot, like iron soup pot. And he comes out and he sees you, and he shouts at you in common, and like waving for you to like leave, like go away, like get out of here.
Yeah, I think I just shout back at him with his voice, say, "You leave! Like you need to get out of here."
Yeah, so he kind of like starts, and he like tosses the contents of the pot in your direction. Can you make make a dexterity save? Let's see if he splashes some garbage soup on you.
All right. 22 credit.
Oh yeah, no problem. So like chunks of like gray meat and some bones that had been used for stock for several days, kind of splash into the alley. You just leap back out of the way, and the broth, kind of the last bits of broth, splatter on the ground.
I land very matter of factly. Like I just jump back, look down at the water, then just look back at him, and once again recite to him as if it was him saying it himself, like leave.
Yeah, yeah. And he scowls, and he just steps back into the kitchen and slams the door. A couple of like mangy dogs have snuck out around your ankles and are like fighting over a scrap of pork.
Okay. I feed it to them. I let them eat as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that we see that, and we kind of pull back and up out of the alley and into the market, and at the far end of the town, where the gates to the monastery lay open to the sun, we can see an elephant and two familiar figures approaching town. Now, when the elder bird sent you out from the rookery to pursue your quest, Jubilant Gale, what What advice did he give you? Did he tell you specifically like what you were meant to do, or just say like what words of wisdom were you given before you left?
I think he informed me to be wary of the common people because they will look at me differently than I've grown up with my entire life. Because I haven't left the forest. No Kinku really ever leave the forest, and if they do, they don't come back just because they don't survive. So this is kind of like an emissary, I guess, mission or journey out from the forest with hopes of eventually returning one day. And he sent me to find Berg, but I'm not really sure why, and he wouldn't tell me, and that's part of the discovery is why I'm being sent here.
So you're looking for now. Do you have like a drawing
No,
of
he told
Berg?
me it would be very easy to find him by his voice.
Sure. Okay. All right. So I think that you head back out into the crowd maybe to find him. Do you have a plan? Are you going to wait somewhere for them, or are you just like searching? Like you haven't been here long. I think you just got to Bahia.
Well, my plan right now is because they're not talking yet, so I'm going to be searching the town by voice. So I'm just going to eat the trash in front of me with the dogs that are eating the pork chops, as you said.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just sort of like huddled in the trash, one ear out for an unusual voice.
Yeah. Anytime like a deep voice is heard, I maybe perk up and my beat kind of changes and erratically, and then goes back down to eating.
Right. Okay. Sure. So I think nobody pays you much attention because you just look like a mercenary with scavenged armor, hiding in the alley, someone down on their luck. So yeah, you're mostly left alone. And so we cut over to Azrael and to Berg returning to town. And for you, you left the monastery last. I guess Berg, you've never been here before, have you?
Mm-mm.
Cool. Okay. So the monastery is beautiful and ancient. It's a multi-tiered set of buildings surrounded by a stout white stone wall. It has these like beautiful fabric hangings that they put out on the wall to face the sun, and then they redraw them and put them out on the other side to face the moon as the night goes on. The place has all of the kind of vibrant bustle of a small trading town because it is one, but there's a somberness to the place. There's a meditative kind of calm that seems to pervade it. You can hear the sounds of chanting from one of the monastery buildings up high on the hill, where there are monks who, it's said, their whole like religious order, their only purpose is to continue this holy chant until the end of the cycle of reincarnation. They began it at the dawn of time, and they carry it on as they grow older, and new monks are trained. And so there's this sect of these monks. So everywhere you go in the town, you can hear, because of the acoustics of the tower, this like long kind of droning chant, and there's bells ringing occasionally to celebrate certain periods in the day. And you walk through the open gates. Unlike Mongvoit, it's not like a guarded place. There are monks around, and you've seen a couple of them who can fight well, and they're sort of all the guard that you need. And and so the three of you and your elephant companion and the Tianxi walk through the gates of the monastery, and immediately people start to pay attention. Right, traders and monks and priests alike all stop, like look up at you as you walk into the monastery.
I ask a someone like a monk if they know where a blacksmith resides in the market, if there is a blacksmith here.
Yeah, so there's a priest nearby, like an abbot or whatever. Monks. So when you use the term monk, it's referring mostly to meditative or ascetic orders that practice martial arts. So like Shaolin style, like monks. When I refer to a priest, I mean like a factionary of like a factotum or a dignitary of a particular religion. So a scholar, like a religious scholar. Just so we can differentiate the two. So the person that you whose attention you get is a priest, and he's wearing a long like a dark blue robe belted with a silver cord, and he has this sort of tall like pillbox shaped hat with some little like crystal like dangly things down the side. He has a shaved head under the hat and like a long beard and mustache, and he's holding a an abacus tucked under his arm with some scrolls and books. And and he's the first person you see. So you turn to him and you're like, "Do you know that there's a blacksmith?" So you say,
Yeah, like, sir, is there a blacksmith in town?
and he looks at you and he blinks and looks up at the elephant, which is obviously not a natural thing, and looks back to you, realizes what you are, and he puts his hand over his mouth. He's got these like long, beautiful, lacquered, like black fingernails. He puts his hand up. He's like, "Oh my, I'm honored, Tianxi," and he like bows so far that like his beard like touches the ground at your feet. You can see like the wisps of his beard sort of touching your boots. And he bows deeply and comes back up with a clatter of his abacus, and he says, "It is an honor that you would even speak with me. Yes, there are many smiths in this abbot. Let me be your guide. Please come." And he like goes to put his arm around you and like leads you out into the town.
I'm like, sir, there's no need for that.
He shakes his head, and the little like crystals hanging from his hat like jingle back and forth. He's like, no, I insist. Please, I've lived here all my life. I know all the shops. You have, and he gestures up the elephant and the bags of like, maybe there's some like copper coins like falling out of the side of one of the pouches. And he's like, I see you have much treasure to spend, to keep safe, to invest. Yes, to invest. Let me show you around, please. And he looks over your shoulder and he sees Berg, and he says, I know many places where both you and your servant can stay in opulence. Now they say this is a monastery, but there are many places here, Tianxi, that if you have earthly desires, if your journey down from heaven has left your throat parched, your stomach empty, or your baser needs unmet, I can show you those as well. Or if you wish to pray, and he like gestures, and he just will not stop talking. Like he just keeps talking.
I say with a booming voice, sir.
And he starts.
That is not my servant. That is my traveling companion. And he's very, very angry when someone tries to cheat him out of his money.
And he's dropped his abacus and his scrolls and stuff on the ground. And yeah, he's like just like kind of pulling nervously at his beard. He's like, I meant no offense, good my lord. And he turns to you, Berg, and as well, like he deep bow to you, and he looks up and he says, "I meant no offense. It was just the jewelry you wear, my good lord. It is unique, I think. I must have been mistaken. My eyes are not so good as they were." And he turns back to you and says, "Heaven willing, my eyesight be restored by good deeds in the world. I hope only to guide you through this strange place. The ways of the earth can be unusual, Tianxi. I do not know how many thousands of years you have spent in heaven before returning to us. But
you will take me to the blacksmith now and be silent."
Make an intimidation check for me, please, Azrael.
Okay. 17.
Okay. All right. So he jumps back when you say that, and like he's gripping at his robes in terror, and he blanches and bumps into a woman who bumps into somebody else, and there's like a dwarf nearby that gets pushed over, and he shouts, and there's like a little bit of a row that happens, and he's like, I mean no offense, my lord. Please, yes, of course. If I could be permitted, and he gestures to his things that are like on the floor.
That's fine. Pick up your things, and then we will casually walk to the blacksmith.
Yeah, and he like gets on his knees to like pick up the scroll and the abacus and like picks them all up. And you notice looking down that one of the scrolls has come like unfurled, and it seems to be an erotic poem with some illustrations. And he like blushes and like rolls it up quickly and stuffs it under his arm. And he says. He says, yes, good. The judgment of heaven is just. Come with me. The blacksmith is this way. And he leads you off into the crowd.
Okay.
All right. So people give you lots of room because you've got this elephant, and and there's you're making this sort of procession down the street, and I think that we cut back over to Jubilant, and you're listening in on a conversation between two young monks. They've sort of like just come from the monastery from a long day of training, and one of them is saying to the other, he's like, "Did you hear there was a ruckus at the front gate?" And the other says, "Yes, I heard there was an elephant made of stone." And the other's like, "You lie! It wasn't made of stone. It was made of gold." And they're like having this conversation, and then one of them is like, "Look there!" And the camera pans around, and you're behind them, so they don't see you. The camera pans around, and you see the elephant and Berg and Azrael moving up through the streets.
Okay.
And and you see these strange figures approaching.
Right.
They're going to go past you towards the market.
Right. I think I tip my hat down to cover up my face to try to fit in as much as possible and just walk into the crowds, following them down the road, as I would assume they're drawing a large crowd.
Okay. All right. Why don't you make a stealth check?
21.
Damn.
Now, are you wearing scale armor?
I guess I would be at this point. Yeah, so that's a 7.
Okay. So perhaps were you in the forest, cloaked by tree and shadow, this would be easy for you. But people keep bumping into you, and there's not enough room around you to hide. You keep looking for like a tree branch to like get behind, but there aren't any. So you're not.
I'm very much out of my element.
You're definitely out of your element. Yeah.
People probably bump into me, and then I would like skitter off to the side, and it wouldn't be in a normal, like a human would maybe sidestep, but I'd like either walk left, right, up or down. Like it's very hard for me to make like a diagonal movement very quickly. And so it's just kind of like moves a little bit oddly.
And also, like, if you've ever seen a bird move without flying, they don't walk, right? Like crows, ravens don't just take steps like a seagull; they hop.
Right.
So your movement is very, very jerky in little like bursts.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they kind of like startle away from you, and
I'm just picturing his like head bobbing like a little bird, like
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, if I like turn back to stare, the beak is like right there, and you can see me rear up, but then it's very erratic back to walking down the path as best as possible.
Yeah. So you're heading your way through the crowd, and I think that Berg, you notice that you're being followed, like you're being gawked at, certainly. And with Azrael keeping this priest in line, you're able to turn your attention elsewhere, and you notice, someone is shadowing you through the crowd.
Yeah. Upon realizing this, I think Berg like nudges Azrael as they were walking along and says, "We are being followed."
I know, Berg. There's a big crowd behind us. That's what happens when you have a giant elephant made of stone.
No, not that. I may not be the most smart man, but not that. Look over there.
Motioning in the direction of bird face.
Yeah, you turn and you see something moving through the crowd, like a armored, hatted figure, kind of erratically like hopping through the crowd.
Every once in a while too, I peer back at you, and you just see like the long form beak hit the sun. Then the head just shifts back to normal, as if I've been seen.
Yeah, Azrael, you've never, I don't think you've ever seen a Kenku in person. They're very, very rare. But Berg, you recognize these things. You know it's not a costume. You're like, yeah, you can see that it's one of those bird creatures that you found in the shrine in the mountains. I mean, you were the one carrying the feather around. You still have it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think at
those
realizing
birds
that
were dicks to you.
Yeah, but then they were nice.
But then they were nice.
Berg, I think, untucks the feather from where he has it, kept, and brings it out and be like,
These bird people. Another bird person. I've encountered them before.
Wait, do you mean the Kenku? Those, I've only heard stories of them.
I do. I wonder why this one is following us, though. Very odd.
Are you positive he's following you, or just happens to be traveling this way?
Only one way to find out. See, keep going. We will monitor.
All right, so I guess we'll keep marching towards the blacksmith, and we're going to keep an eye and just see if he happens to keep following us. If he just happened to have been following us by coincidence, or if he's actually tailing us.
Okay, yeah. So you come up to the blacksmith that the priest led you to, and it's a big stone sort of storefront set into the mountain. Most of the kind of long-lived buildings here are either partly built into the mountain or completely. So this one, the front of it, there's a little eave that comes out over a water trough, and there's an anvil, and you can hear the clanking of a hammer on an anvil inside. But there's also someone outside working. There's a woman. She's probably in her 60s, long gray hair that's been pulled up into a bun. She's got a leather apron on, and she's sitting with one knee up on a bench, and she's etching the edge of a long, sort of beautiful curved sword. So she's drawing on it. She's like in the middle of etching a swan into the blade of the sword, and she looks up when you approach, and the priest bows to you, Azrael, and says, "A most reputable shop. Many good works here: swords, armor, spears, fine metalwork. I assure you, my lord." And he like bows again, and sort of like, he's got these little like beads in his mustache that clink on the stone as he bends over. This guy's really good at bowing. And he sits back up and he looks at you and he says, "Yes, rich and noble lord, I have done as you asked, brought you to the blacksmith."
Thank you very much. You have been so grateful to me. I would like to give you something, and thanks.
When you say that, you're like, "I would like to give you something." He begins to smile, right?
I reach into my pocket and I pull out this scroll case, and I pull out a nice piece of paper, and on it is a prayer that describes about the destruction, the evil force of greed, and how you must pray to the arcana to
oh my god
to just a prayer about how greed is evil and you shouldn't be greedy. And I'm like, this will save your divine soul, and it is worth more than anything I could give you. Be blessed, my friend.
Yeah, you give it to him and he looks at it and he looks at you. And he looks at Berg for a second, like, is he fucking kidding with me right now, or? And then he bows again and like scrambles away without another word. Azrael is the kind of guy who writes, "I'll pray for you" in the tip line at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Amazing. So he disappears embarrassedly into the crowd. Yeah, his smile dripping from his face. And this woman is just like looking up at you and kind of like she's paused in her work.
Madam, are you the blacksmith here?
Yeah, she kind of squints at you. And I think that you notice up on the eave of the blacksmith shop is a big fat black crow. And it's like picking at something in the trough, like it's trying to unwedge some piece of garbage that's gotten stuck in there. But you notice it behind her, and it kind of like squawks awkwardly. And she looks up at the elephant, looks at you, and she says quietly, "You three look like the beginning of a joke."
Yeah, and that crow behind you is attempted murder.
Oh, so she laughs. Yeah, like she looks at you for a second, like, and then just belly laugh, and she's like, "An angel with a sense of humor. Well, and I suppose you're going to tell me that this is a free man?" And she looks over at you, Berg.
Yes, he is free. Well, in a way, I am not his master.
She nods and she looks sternly at you, Berg. She's like, Good. We all have masters. Best to keep on the run from them, I think. To answer your question, yes, I am the blacksmith. One of many.
I heard you're one of the best in this monastery.
She smiles. She says, being the best armor smith, the best weapon crafter in a city of pacifists, not exactly good work. But I try. You're adventurers, I presume. Or maybe you're looking for a suit of armor for the elephant? Not that it looks like he needs it.
I am a monk as well.
She looks you up and down, and she's like, if you're a monk, then I'm a princess of the Court of Wands.
Adam, are there like just swords and stuff laying about? Perhaps rapiers?
Yeah, there's a big like
I
barrel.
tried to start that as like not specific as possible, but I got to ask the important question.
Yeah. So a rapier. There are like the kinds of rapiers we envision when we hear that word, right? It's a long thin blade, basket hilt or whatever. They're not commonly used in the Court of Coins, especially. A rapier would refer more likely to a jian, which is like a flexible kind of kung fu sword. And there are a bunch of those. They're finished being crafted. They have the leather around the hilt, but they haven't been decorated yet. They haven't had the like traditional like tassel attached to the end. But yeah, there's a barrel with a bunch of them waiting to be attended to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I was interested in maybe a set of full plate. Do you carry it?
She laughs. She's like, full plate armor. It would take months to make. And look around you. Do you see anyone here who would wear it? I have none ready. I could make you some. Is it for you or for him?
For me. He would like some scale mail if you happen to have that.
She grins and she looks over and she's like, what? You don't like to be as protected as your friend?
So who's she doing that to? Me?
To you. Yeah. Like, why? Wait, you don't want plate mail too? I can't upsell you from the scale armor?
Not all of us need plate armor.
She looks. You can see her scar, right? Like you've got a scar on your chest, right?
It's a giant X across his chest, like a brand.
Yeah, like you've got a shirt, but like
Yeah.
she can see it clearly. You're just wearing like an undershirt. She looks at it and she looks at you and she's like, I think we have a difference of opinion, but you're the one who survived, I suppose. So scale. Certainly. Again, I can make these things. They're expensive, but if you're willing to stay in town for some time.
How long would it take you to craft these, you think?
How much gold do you have? I work fast and properly motivated.
We have enough, for sure.
She looks up at the elephant. I don't doubt that.
How long would it take you to craft a set of plate mail?
I would need to source the material, smelt the steel. Sometime, a few weeks perhaps. Are you in a hurry? Going somewhere? Heaven calling you home?
Well, one could say. Is there possibly a fee we could pay to expedite that process?
She grins. She says, I see. So you do understand how things work. Yes, of course. I have many clients. And she looks down at the swan like saber that she's working on. But they can wait for the right price. That's how things work in town.
How much would it take? How long would it take? I mean, how much would it cost me to have plate in, let's say, a day?
She laughs. She shakes her head. She says, it would take all the blacksmiths in town to do that, and I don't want to share. Besides, they wouldn't work with me anyway. And you want good plate armor. She, let's see, how much? So it's 1,500 for regular plate. She's like, I can make it for you in a week for 2,000 pieces of gold.
2,000?
She nods. No sooner, no less.
Berg looks around just to see, like, and then regards her and says,
How long and how much for half plate, maybe? Or is that too skillful of a job for you?
She shakes her head. She says, no, don't you worry about my skill. Skill is not the issue. Cost. Time. Besides, now I have this full plate I have to work on. That's going to push all my projects back. You want to get second place in line? You'll pay for it as well. 1,000 gold. 3,000 for the both. I can have an apprentice craft the half plate.
3,000 for both?
While this is happening, While this is happening, I think maybe at the periphery of your vision, Ezra, you've noticed like another customer has come up and started to like look through the barrel of swords.
All right, you have a deal, ma'am. We'll pay you 3,000 for a set of plate mail and half plates. In 1 week, you said?
She nods. Yes. Half now, and she like gestures for you to pay, basically.
Okay, hand her 1,500 gold pieces now.
Okay. All right. So she doesn't deal with it directly. She like calls up like one of her sons, who comes up front, and they have a quick conversation. Where she tells him what's going on, and he kind of seems surprised, and he puts up a fuss. He's like, but mother, the silverware for the abbot. And she's like, the abbot can wait. And then he takes the payment and writes you a like a receipt essentially, and pulls off a piece of paper from this pad that he's got and hands it to you.
Berg says to her as this happens,
If the armor is poor, I will know.
in response to the whole apprentice thing.
Yeah. She looks at you and she says, 1, I do not make poor armor. 2, neither do my sons. And 3, if the armor is flawed, you probably won't know till it's too late. And she like winks at you.
That's
All
about
right.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you doing while this is happening? Gale?
I think I'm pulling different blades out of the barrel, and like tapping them on the edge and making the same noise, almost identical to the noise that it's making as it clanks on the side of the barrel, and probably like every 4 or 5 clanks, almost rhythmically, I'm looking over towards the other group, and if I get caught, I just go back down and keep clanking as it's happening, and I'm just like waiting for this conversation to end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it comes to an end, and she takes your money and hands you a like rolled receipt, and then you turn, and I think at this point you've probably got like another hour or so before the elephant turns back into a statue. And you turn around and you're just alone outside this. Alone plus the like crowd of people that have come to stare at the elephant.
Yeah, I think as they separate themselves, I scurry over behind Azrael, and in his own voice just go, "Sir." And maybe like you see like a very like skeletal frame, bony frame, just like tap you on your shoulder.
Yeah, you hear your own voice come out of this creature.
Could you not speak in my voice? That is creepy.
And then again in your voice, "This will save your divine soul." And then I'm just standing there proudly, like fully upright. And then I start clanking the metal back on the table.
You're like tapping the sword.
I told you. Followed.
I turn to Bergen and his voice say, "Why are you here?"
Why are you?
Who are you?
When Azrael answers that, I go to my side and like rummage through a bag of a bunch of different papers, all very old, it seems, papyrus, and pull out one and scan it, and then look at them and scan it again, and hand him a paper. And maybe like as he goes to look over it, I look over the paper with my beak to make sure he's reading it, and if not, I tell him, I point to the paper.
Who did you give the paper to?
To Azrael, but I'm also and then I just stare at Berg directly.
What am I seeing on the paper?
It's just a finely written note from maybe it says to Berg at the top.
Oh, to Berg.
Yeah, and then maybe I tap it a couple more times with my skeletal bony finger.
Berg, this is addressed to you. I don't mean any offense, but can you read?
Yes, I can read. However,
in Berg's voice, you get interrupted and say, "I don't know what part he plays."
Well, I say this, Berg, this note is for you. Here, you can read it.
Berg grabs it and looks at it and is like realizes that it's actually written really like well and like kind of a little bit too fancy for him. He's like,
You read.
What is the note? What's the gist of the note, JP?
Gist of the note is it's from the Kinku Elder, and it says, greetings, Berg. I hope this message finds you in goodwill and health. And then it says, Jubilant Black Gale was sent here, or was sent to find you, and if this message does reach you, then I assume he's standing in front of you. He wishes to join and journey with you.
Yeah, it lays out also that the elder says that essentially like your visit to our temple set off a change in the Kenku. We have been hidden away from the world too long, and the threads of destiny are being pulled to return the Kenku to the world. But we're a cautious people, and there's so few of us. This is a gift to you, our emissary. And that he's meant to travel by your side.
Well, have you met this bird creature before, Berg?
The old bird? Yes.
It says he helped you and gave you shelter a long time ago.
He did indeed. An odd one, as all of these bird people are.
I'm back to clanking the sword again.
And your name is Jubilant Blackgate? Is that correct?
The clanking stops immediately, and I look at him and just do a very quick nod.
Are you saying you want that sword?
I look back over the sword and start clanking again and say, I serve the fountain. Then start clanking again.
What is the fountain?
I look back at him and just shrug.
Yep.
Don't lie to me. Just be honest.
And then in your voice, once again, I just say, unspeakable horrors.
Oh, yes. Let's have him join the party.
And then in your voice, yes.
Well, apparently he's supposed to come with us. The Kenku want to get out and be sociable again. I don't mind. Do you, Berg?
I say in Hassan's voice, new beginning.
Well, how about a gesture of goodwill? I buy you this rapier you want.
My beak turns to the rapier and starts clanking faster now. I turn back and just nod.
Excited clicking sounds.
Yeah.
Madam, how much for this sword?
Well, that's a good question. How much is a rapier?
Isn't it like 15 gold?
It is. Rapier is 25, I think. It is indeed 25 gold.
We now know he clanks at things he would like.
Yeah, she looks to the sword and she's 25, but that one's not done.
I like take it away and hold it close to my chest, and I make the clanking noise with my mouth instead of with the sword.
Yeah, she puts her hands up like, okay, it's fine. You can buy that one. It's fine.
All right, here you go. And I hand 25 gold pieces to the boy again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he makes a note and yeah.
Yeah, I hand the sword back. And then as I had the sword back, I turned to the three of them and just in the blacksmith's voice say, "You three look like the start of a joke." And I'm just standing there in my garb.
All right. So it's getting late. You're gonna need to acquire somewhere to stay. How much? Let me see. I just want to make a quick note because I'm keeping track of kind of the economy of this town. You've sunk in. How much money did you just spend? 3,000?
1,500 now.
Yeah, it'll be.
Well, 1,525.
It'll be 3,000. So it's in the thousands. All right. So you spent 3,000 gold on the town so far. And then you want to go to an inn and rest?
Yeah, go to an inn and rest from our journey.
How much money do you have left after all that?
1,300 gold and 93 platinum, and then 16 electrum.
So it might be worth like you can invest your money in like instead of paying for an inn, you could like rent or buy like an apartment or a small house if you want.
How much would an apartment be?
500 gold.
Let's see. That'd be pushing it.
Do you share this
Also-
with the group? I mean, I could help.
Yeah, like hold on, I'm just calculating. I gotta have 1,500 left over to pay for the other thing. So platinum's 10 gold each.
If you plan on
30.
being around in the monastery, having like a place that you could just go and stay in.
Yeah,
it's
so we have
500 gold.
2,200 gold left.
Mm-hmm.
So 500 to buy an apartment.
Yeah. An apartment would be like a one room, like a little one room spot, like above a store or something. Like it would be its own little self-contained thing, but it wouldn't be very big. But it would certainly be.
You could just sleep in there and stuff.
Yeah, a place you could sleep and eat and like store your stuff. It wouldn't necessarily have very good security, but it's a start. It's something. I wouldn't leave like all your treasure there necessarily, but.
Quick sidebar too. It's showing on my character sheet that I still have the shield. Did that shield get fucked up in the fight? I can't remember.
Yeah, you could buy another one now though if you want.
All right, we'll just tack that on. Just how much does the shield cost? We don't need to.
10 gold,
it's just
I think.
Berg says, "Oh, I also want a shield. Yuck it. Waka
Yeah,
waka."
you're shopping. It's fine. 10 gold. Yeah, 10 for a shield.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you want to, you can save your money. You could go and put it in a bank or whatever, and you could save up for like a small hall. A hall or tavern sized place is 1,000 gold. A full size house is 2,000. And then it starts to get more and more expensive as you go. Like a mansion or a keep or something would be 50 or 75,000 gold. It gets bigger and bigger.
How much is a dimensional plane?
It is an infinite number of astral diamonds. I mean, you'd have to have someone conjure one for you.
Yeah, no.
I think, or steal one from someone who already owns one. Go find a wizard and murder them.
Do you guys want to get an apartment that we can just come back to?
Are we going to come back to this city much? I don't know if we'll...
I don't know. I don't know if are we planning on coming here a lot, or are we going to be on the move a lot?
Well, it's basically there are two town-sized establishments in the current area, right? There's Mongvot Fortress where you could stay, or there's Baya Monastery, right? One is aligned with the Court of Coins, one's aligned with the Court of Swords. They're different, but they're the same, functionally the same size. In the valley, there are maybe a half dozen villages, and villages are much smaller, much harder to find things in, but they have also like less authority figures like walking around telling people what to do. They're deeper in the thing.
I think I'll side with my character in the sense that he has no fucking idea what any of this stuff is, so he doesn't care.
So would you say that this place is probably a quest hub, if we had to call it something?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, like, I'm just giving you guys the opportunity to kind of settle in. You can always sell the apartment later if you want to move, right?
Oh, that's true.
You don't buy it forever. You're just buying the deed to the apartment from the town. You buy it from the shopkeep that owns the shop underneath it.
Just as comparison, how long would like a week at a tavern be?
Considerably less. Basically, it's like a gold a day, I think, per person, and that's food and drink and stay. Yeah, it's a gold a day.
What do you think, Berg? Max, should we be in an apartment or?
I think as that discussion is happening, like in character, I'm just making the clanking noises of the sword, of the rapier that we bought.
So we're trying to figure out whether or not an apartment or a house.
Like,
whether or not you want to buy something or not.
Yeah.
Or just stay temporarily.
We can buy this place for 500 gold and stay here for a long time. Like,
yeah, I think that's worth it because then we can like put also shit there as well too. Like if we don't, we don't have to be carrying everything around with us.
True.
Probably make us a little bit less of a target if we're.
I mean, I was joking about the whole HGTV thing before, but here we are. Like,
a mysterious stranger comes up. So you're thinking of getting a house, are you? Like,
and then his twin shows up.
I can show you.
Yeah, his twin shows up and says the second line. Yep, it's HGTV all over again.
Roll to flip it.
Yeah.
So it might be a good idea in case he sends someone to look for you if you could hide in the apartment for a while.
In Azriel's voice, I speak up and interrupt my clanging and say, someplace where we can unload all this stuff. And then just kind of cock my head at him.
Madam, do you know of any apartments for sale in town?
She looks at you, and she says, my sister, she's a midwife. Her husband passed. They own a building. She's leaving, going back to the capital. I think it's available.
Would she accept? Is she in town, or do you speak for her?
She says, I can speak for her. Yes.
Do you think she would sell the place for 500 gold?
She like looks you up and down. She's like, I suspect you have more than that, but it seems a fair price.
All right. I think we'll do it. I'll give you 500 gold, and then own a
Like,
small
well,
place.
That was easier than we expected.
Yeah. I keep muttering and keeping to myself, just saying, seems a fair price. Seems a fair price. I'm just kind of like kicking the dirt right now, walking around.
Well,
That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Not going
okay.
parrot. I'm not a parrot, Max. Not a goddamn parrot.
So she over the remaining hours of the day, she gets in touch with her sister, and they have one of the priests work out the details and write up a document and transfer ownership to you. You get a ring of keys, and they take you to this house. And yeah, it's above. I think it's above a like a tea shop. Not a like you go in and sit down and drink tea kind of shop, but like there's a building on it's got a few stories. It's built up against the stone wall, like many of them are. And the first floor is just this kind of open space with shelves on the other side with huge glass jars full of tea. There's this like very fragrant scent that kind of like wafts up from the shop. There's an old man that runs that shop. And he lives in the apartment directly above it. And then there's a third story where you walk up the stairs and into this, just like one like a biggish like room. It's probably like 1,000 square feet. Wooden floor, windows that look out into the square. One wall is the stone of the mountain, but it's been covered by like wooden sheets, and it's got probably like a like heat that comes up from the floor below. And it's fine. It looks like it was recently occupied, but is otherwise like empty and clear.
Okay. Oh God, I'm so happy to put all this stuff down. Start unloading everything into the apartment.
And Percentatron's voice, you hear, so sick.
Awesome.
And maybe I'm touching all the walls with my hands, like making almost a pecking noise.
Yeah.
Experiencing the room.
In another like corner of the room, Berg takes a pitten. Is it called pitten or is it python?
Python.
What's the pronunciation? Python?
Yeah.
I don't know. I take one of those, and he takes off Rames's shield and uses it to like smash it into the wall, and then takes the shield and rests and puts it right on the wall and says,
Rest easy.
And then just
nice.
So
there's this cracked shield with the symbol of the sun on it. It's got a big like rent in it, and it's hanging on the wall now.
I'm
Cool.
confused by this because most Kinku keep things, not put things up on walls. So as I'm tapping on all the walls, I walk over to the shield and start tapping it and realize it's metal. So I like tap on my armor. I look at Berg. I look at the shield and keep tapping it. Look at Berg, and if he's like focused on me, I just grab the shield and like hit it closely off the wall.
Put that back.
I look at him and say, put that back. I'm still looking at it, tapping on. I flip it around.
No.
I put it. I slowly put it back on the shelf and say, no.
fuck this Kinku, goddammit.
So while those two are having that conversation, Azrael, what are you doing?
I'm surveying the place, just looking out the windows, seeing strategically like where we could be attacked from. Like I just making sure I'm very secure in this place, because if I'm gonna settle down here, like I've never been in a. It's been years and years since I've had a place of my own. I've been on the run for so long. I don't feel safe in the walls, so I'm just very very cautiously just surveying, make sure that I know every nook and cranny of the place.
Yeah. I get two things here. So, Jubilant Black Gale, take inspiration, and Asriel, roll an investigation check for me.
Okay. 14.
14. Okay. On the door frame, you're just like looking around the place, getting a feel for it. You can hear the sounds of the street outside. The tea seller, you can hear him saying goodbye to someone as they head out with a jar of tea. And you turn around to walk back into the place, and you see something has been scratched or like etched into the wooden beam of the door frame. It's like up and a little to the left.
I get a little closer and see what it is.
Okay. Yeah, someone has like, and it's high enough up. Like the frame is quite high. It's two big beams and then a third sitting on top of them, and then the wall has been built around it. And someone has had to like get up on a ladder or something to etch this in, and it's like under the beam. It's a simple mark. It looks like a ram's like head. So it's this sort of triangular shape, and then two like curling shapes that come out of either side. You can make a religion check if you want to try to recognize it.
Okay. 20.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, I think Sean just fucked our rolls with his presence, man. We're doing pretty good today.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's crudely
right.
it's a crudely drawn symbol, but it is recognizable. It's the mark of the devil. And when I say devil, I mean like the station of the arcana, the devil, not the devil like a bad demon thing. It's not a Mara sigil. It's the mark of the devil. And the devil is a mark of hopelessness, a mark of ignorance, and of being in a bad situation against your will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I look at the mark and I recognize the devil, and I'm like, not here, my friend. And just brushing off that we're not hopeless here. And then I walk back to the others and like, all right, this is our place for now. What should we do?
When you say this is our place from now, I get a word in and look at you and say, in your voice, death lurks in here. And then I just stand proudly.
Really, death lurks in here.
And then Berg's, death lurks in here. Standing proudly.
I look,
What do you mean?
I look at Ezra. I'm like,
I may punch him.
Do you have a voice of your own, or you just mimic everything?
In your voice, mimic everything.
Okay. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. And then I can't really smile, but maybe my beak like opens up a little bit, and that's the Kinku version of smiling or showing happiness.
From being around a bird as much as I have, they do a thing when they're happy where it's more like they close their eyes a little bit and like open their beak a little.
Yeah.
It's a body language thing for sure.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah,
And then I think I like walk over to. Is there in describing the apartment that we rented? Is there like a ledge that I could perch on?
Yeah, so there's two large, if dirty, windows on the front side, and then there's a set of wooden doors that open up onto a little balcony. And when you open them, the balcony is maybe like 3 or 4 feet out, and then twice as wide as the door. And it's got some pots, some like ceramic pots with dead plants in them, sitting on the edge. And there's enough stands to like stand out here, and you can close the door and be like out there. And when you step out, there's that smell of both the tea from the shop kind of wafting up to you, and then also the smell of like the cold winter or the cold mountain air blowing down from behind the monastery. And you can see out into the market, and we get a nice clear shot of the city from your new apartment.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think you just see like one leg go up on the thing or on the the railing, and then the other leg go up, and I kind of just perch there. And then in Hassan's voice, I'm just saying "new beginning" over and over as I'm just staring out at the city.
And from up here, you can see, there's a couple of like merchant stalls with cloth coverings that are a little bit loose and like flapping in the breeze. And you can see a pile of wood shavings and some sticks from a wood carver. And in your mind, you can start to imagine like building a nest out here on the little thing. Like yeah, that would be good, and I could use those.
Sure.
And that thing. And you can see little like sparkly objects on some of the vendors. Maybe we see from your perspective. Maybe we see like two merchants shaking hands, and there are gold rings like glittering in the dying sunlight of the day.
Yeah, that definitely catches my eyes.
I think as he's doing that, I Berg says to Ezra, like,
maybe we get that one a cage.
Only if you clean it.
And maybe maybe when he says that, I just take a shit on the porch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just off the balcony.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fucking bird that lives in the forest, man. We don't have restrooms.
Yeah, they don't exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw we described the Kenku like cave. There was bird shit everywhere, but that's fine. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Great.
And there's a poor woman at the bottom of the balcony that just gets hit by it.
Yeah.
Man-sized bird shit. Great. Fantastic.
But when you said a new beginning, was that in the voice of the mysterious man?
Yep.
As soon as you say that, I'm like, wait a minute, that voice. Have you talked to the strange man in the hat and the tattoos?
I turn around and unperch myself and walk over, and very seriously, and maybe like put my claw or talons on your shoulder and say in Hassan's voice, anything born can die.
Berg's also no longer laughing, like he's any sort of like smile or whatever.
Were you there when we were talking to him?
I turn to Berg and just say, "Why are you here?" in your voice.
Answer him. Sorry.
I turn and say, "Answer him." And then I kind of like I get a little bit distraught. Like I don't know how to facilitate an answer that you guys will be comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see him kind of shifting.
Yeah,
from
I'm fidgety a little bit and worried a little bit.
Explain to me your connection to him.
I pull out the scroll from the elder and tap it a bunch and hand it to you.
I double check and look if there's something I missed in reference to the man.
Nope, nothing specifically.
And then maybe after that, like, does that? What's your response to that?
I guess like this doesn't tell me anything. What are you trying to tell me?
I put up my paw, and in your voice, very loudly, I say, "Be silent!" And I walk over to the edge of the room where I was sitting, and make some like just bird calls, like raven calls. And then a raven flies down and perches on the railing, and walk back over, and I point to it. And then I point to him, and we start calling back and forth to one another.
Yeah, the two of them are kind of like clucking and clicking at each other.
Can you speak to the bird?
I give one very like appreciative nod.
And does the bird speak to him?
I shake my head no.
Is that bird him?
I shake my head no like 3 or 4 times, and I understand you're confused now. And so I just kind of like sigh and walk over to the thing and continue calling it the bird.
Why should we trust you?
I turn back to you and say, in your voice, I don't know what part he plays. And go back to calling it the bird.
This is very weird, Berg. He somehow knows everything that we said to that man. I
Maybe he
turned
was
back to you.
there.
I turned back to you, and I'm like, "How long have you been following us?"
I turn to you and say in your voice, "Hello, stranger."
You've been following us since we spoke to that man.
I nod and then hand him the letter from the elder once again and point to it, tap like constantly with my.
Oh, I get it now. So ever since we spoke to that man is when you started following us, and you heard everything that was said between the two of us.
I nod.
So you don't actually know that man.
Yeah, I shake my head no.
Okay, I get it, Berg. Don't worry. He's just an idiot.
I want to punch him less.
When you say he's just an idiot, I go, "Be silent!" once again in your voice. And maybe walk away. I walk over to the edge hastily and continue squawking at the bird.
Don't shit anymore in this house.
Yes. It's customary that if you have to relieve yourself, you do it outdoors.
I turn and in the blacksmith voice, I say to you, "We all have masters."
God fucking damn it.
Also, you gotta be careful what you say around him because you don't want to teach him bad words. He knows shit now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well,
Cool.
do you need a bed, or do you hang from the ceiling, or do you make a nest?
I tap on the rail repeatedly and say, "Rest, rest."
You'll rest there? Okay. Well, I guess we should call it a night. I'm exhausted.
Exhausted. Maybe I'd saddle back up on the ridge of the outside area and just like be real silent and still.
Yeah. Pull one leg up, stand on one leg, get kind of poofy.
Exactly. Yeah, you see the feathers come up. Yeah. Exactly. Max, you going to sleep? What's Berg doing?
Yeah. Berg's just looking around, surveying the thing, and just finds himself like a little, I don't know, side of like the room or whatever to just kind of.
Yeah, it's just one big room.
sleep.
You have no furniture right now. So
Yeah, no, exactly. He's just like
bedrolls on the floor.
Yeah, bedroll like rolls one out and just like knocks it or taps it a bit, like just fluffs it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the elephant has returned to normal size, and you've secreted away, and and you all settle in for that awkward sort of first night at your new place when you have no furniture, sleeping on the floor with sleeping bags.
Yep.
Mark off ration. Everybody mark off a ration, and you take a rest, and we'll take a break here, I guess, and pick up when you wake up the next day.
Great.
Cool.
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 All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and go into hour 3 right after this. We'll see you guys in just a bit.